Here's how I configure an ExpressLRS Bind-and-Fly drone. First part is to, of course, unbox the drone. With the drone out of the box, I can connect the antennas and also attach the battery pads. The second part is making backups of the factory configuration. So we'll connect to the USB. For this, we're gonna have to open the Betaflight configurator and use the presets tab. Now with the backups made, I can now configure the drone without worry of losing the original configuration. Part 3 is reusing my old configurations. Here's a copy of my old configurations that I can just reuse via the CLA tab. First would be the aux modes. An error here. Right. And the next would be my OSD. I have one for analog. I'm going to copy my rates. And of course, don't forget the save command. Part 4 is checking the settings, starting with the setup and the configuration tab. The first thing I check is the drone orientation. So as you can see, the drone preview is moving the same way as I move the drone on my hand. If it's not moving the same way, then that means the factory configuration is incorrect. So in the ports tab, we can see how the UARTs are configured. We have the VTX, the analog VTX on UART1, the receiver on UART2, and the Bluetooth connection on UART3. And UART6 has the GPS. And that is all that's configured. In the configuration tab, we can see that it is set with 8K feed loop, and the magnetometer is enabled. And I think the settings here are okay, but I'm going to disable the magnetometer for now. Of course, that means I'll have to save and reboot. Part 3 is to check the power and battery configuration, as well as the Failsafe tab and the rate profiles. So I typically just check if it's set correctly with the sensors or the source. We can adjust this later on, but this seems reasonable. As for failsafe, it's set to GPS rescue. So I'm gonna leave these settings for now. Then we move on into feed profile, the feed tuning tab. I usually leave this as is in their factory configuration, and I'm just going to check whether my rate profiles are here. Next part is where I will have to bind and sync my receiver with my radio. So we go to receiver tab, and at this point I'm going to have to power the drone because the receiver doesn't power with just the USB connected. I'm also going to get my radio. If you want to see how I set up my HTX radios, then you're gonna have to watch the other video. I'll be using the GX12 at this point. So with the receiver powered up, as you can see, it's looking for the sync. From here, I can simply put it into binding mode via this button in the receiver tab. And it should be double blinking now, as you can see. And then using the ExpressLRS Lua script, I can use the bind command so the receiver will sync with the TX module.
0 volts, telemetry connected.
So as you can see. With the TX module and the receiver bound and connected, I can go into the modes tab and check if the settings are there. And you can see it's reacting correct.
Rescue mode active.
With the receiver and the radio talking and the modes tab set up as I want, I can now go into the next part, which is the GPS and the motors. I usually leave these settings at their defaults. In the motors tab, I just check whether bidirectional D-shot is enabled and also how the motor spin direction is set. I may have to change the motor direction later. Part 8 would be the OSD and the video transmitter. With my settings that I set earlier via the CLA tab, the OSD should be set up as I want. I'm just gonna check whether there are factory set elements that are here that I don't want, like altitude maybe. This seems already set as I wanted. From here, I can check the video transmitter tab. Good thing they already set it to baseband 8, but the power is set to max, so I'm gonna set it to 25 milliwatts for now, so the VTX won't overheat. I'm also going to set low power this arm to on until first arm. And of course, I have to save the settings. And of course, the next part is to save another backup. You can do that again in the presets tab.
Sensor lost. Sensor lost.
And from there, I can now set the props and put on the battery straps. For now, I'll power down the drone.
Telemetry off.
And also disconnect from the configurator. Now we got the props, and we can now put each in the right corner. And of course, we're gonna have to put in the battery straps. And now the drone should be ready for the first hover test. I'm not gonna be able to show you the hover test because it's raining outside. So I might just show you the flight on the next video.